This is April 26th, 2000. I'm at an unnamed prospect. I'm sorry, an unnumbered prospect. We didn't have any information on this one. It's called the Looking Glass Prospect. There's 23 or 33 claims here. Gary Solberg at the Forest Service in Slate Creek gave me a claim map of this. This is a bridge across the Salmon River, about 12 miles, 13 miles upstream from Riggins. Kind of looking south, although this is the little north-south stretch of the river. It goes on around to the east down there. And looking downstream here, kind of looking down, Kelly Creek comes in from the east side over there. This is right along the road. This is the main Salmon River Road. It kind of turns into a dirt road past that bridge down there. You can see the kind of opening up here. This little dump area has been modified to some extent. I'll go over here. You can see that this is boarded over with the keep out sign. Although up on the top, it's obviously open enough to crawl down in there. So even though this is boarded over, it's kind of collapsed here at the surface, and people could easily get down in there. I don't see any recent footprints, but it's pretty obvious somebody could get in there if they wanted to. See a little poison ivy here, quite a bit growing out in front. Looks like there may have been a second adit here. If I come out and look over in this direction, you can see this little slough debris there covered with poison ivy. That looks like there may have been a second working in there, and part of the reason I think that is if I come out here and look down in front, you can see what appears to be a small waste dump. I don't think this ever amounted to too much lengthwise, but you can see this little kind of toe sticking out here. This tree is right at the base of it, and that does appear to be a small waste dump. It's also possible that it all came out of there and was just transferred over to this side. In any case, that one is open, even though it's been gated off at one time. There's three other adits that show on the topo map. Two are up on the slope, and I'll try to get up to those. The other is down close to where the bridge is down there, and I'll go on down there and take a look, see if I can find these. Just quickly give a little panorama here of the Salmon River slopes. Well, I've come down the road, which is upriver. You can see the river down here. Right there's the bridge that I'd believe shown before in the video. Coming up this old Jeep trail or old dozer trail, kind of angles real steeply here up the east slope. It takes off right about where the bridge is down there, where the turnaround is. And this is adit 2. This one's also shown on the topo map, and it's open as well. If I get back here, you can see that there were some boards over this, but it pretty well collapsed, and it's standing open and pretty much on its own. I don't see any timbers in there. Looks like some old cardboard. It's a little damp inside, but I don't think it's really flowing any water. Rained pretty heavily last night. Some water may have just seeped down in there. See this nearly vertically standing gneiss and schist here. Looks like it has more or less a north-northeast strike to it, steep east dip to it. These are the old boards of the portal, pretty well collapsed. It looks like it goes back quite a ways, but there really isn't anything of a waste dump. I suspect it was just rolled down over the slope, or possibly some of the material was hauled out. I really don't know. but there is essentially no waste dump here. Now the topo map shows 2 more adits pretty high up on the slope. I believe this trail should probably lead to them, so I'll head on up there and see if I can find those. Well, I've continued up that trail several more 100 yards, maybe 300 yards. For reference, there's the bridge again on the salmon. I'm probably 300-400 feet up off the river, I would guess. This is adit 3, and this is also shown on the topographic map. The other 2 were on the Riggins Hot Springs 7.5 minute quadrangle, and this one is just over on the Kelly Mountain quadrangle. You can see again that it's caved here at the entrance. There's some boards up there with a no trespassing sign on, and I'll go up and take a look down in there in a minute. There's really again no waste dump. Some of this material out here at this wide spot is probably waste rock, and a little bit of this stuff down over the hillside is probably waste rock from this adit, but it's really insignificant, really doesn't amount to anything at all. Okay, I'll go on up here and take a look down in this working. Well, as you can see, even though it's boarded over here a little bit, it would be pretty easy to crawl down in here through these boards and down in there, and it is open. Can't really see how far it goes. Looks like a little rubble back in there on the floor, but can't tell if it's actually caved or stops there or what. So in any case, there's at least a warning sign here. Doesn't look like anybody's really been up here recently. There's a few cigarette butts on the little flat out here, but that's about it. There's supposed to be one more at it. It's actually, I'm assuming this trail goes on. It looks like it goes on up here a little ways, then should cut back across this slope here and drop back into the drainage around the point there, and that's where the 4th adit's supposed to be. So I'll go see if I can find that one. Just for another note here before I shut down, can also see excuse me, some cuts over on this other hillside. A little dozer cut going up there, some going across. I'm suspecting those are probably some prospect cuts, possibly related to this working. They might have been trying to find a continuation of a vein or something over there. In any case, there are some old dozer cuts, but that's really all there are over there. Okay, I'm looking at the small waste dump, if you want to call it that, for adit 3. It's right where that bush is. I think I should have mentioned this is, had to give this a site number since we didn't have one. I called it K4260001. I followed this trail on up here. It goes on up here about a mile to the north, and I was hoping it would switch back and lead to this 4th adit. It never did. It kind of ended in a gully up there. Then there was a pretty obscure old horse trail that zigzagged up the slope. I probably was another 1,000 feet above where I am now, kind of up at the base of those upper trees where the slope really steepens. Never could find that it went anywhere. The other adit is supposed to be over this ridge and to the east, almost due east of adit 3 here, which would kind of put it right over the ridge there. Now, I suppose you could pick your way along these slopes and get over there. Without a trail, it's pretty hard to know exactly where the adit would be, especially if there's no dump like there are here. There may be a trail that goes up the creek down here. I'll take a look down there, and if not, why, I think we're just going to wrap this up. Even if it's an open adit, why, it certainly is not one that anybody's really going to go to unless they're prospecting to begin with. Well, this is May 8th, 2000. I've come back to finish up the Looking Glass prospect here along the Salmon River. It's about 1,000 feet above the river. You can't really see it from the road that goes along. The road you see there is on the west side of the river, and the main river road is on the east side, but you can see the river. The bridge is just off the left side there. The road just about reaches the bridge. Here you just can't quite see it. If I can see that crawler down there, the top of that yellow crawler, that's right at the east side of the bridge, or the west side of the bridge. In any case, I've come up around this point. There's no access up here, just some game trails. Came up around this ridge, across the slope here, and found adit 4. It's right behind this little bit of brush, and it is open. A little bit of poison ivy growing here, but I think I can kind of sneak in around this bush maybe. And you can see there that it is open. A little bit of rock on the bottom. It's not going to focus for me here, but a little bit of sloughing here right at the portal, and then it goes down, and the floor has some rock on it, but it's really not in too bad a shape, it doesn't look like. Looks like maybe just a quartz vein, a little bit of quartz material here, but not very much. The waste dump is small. It's very thin on the slope. It starts about there, comes over just past my backpack to there. That's about 12-15 feet at the most. Very thin on the slope. It does go down here because the slope is steep, about 20 feet or so, but it's probably not over 5 feet thick on the slope. I did notice a small prospect pit just around this point, kind of right about the top of the tree and around that nose of the ridge, and I'll take a look at that on the way back down. Other than that, there isn't too much up here, and this is the fourth one that shows on the topographic maps. It's on the Kelly Mountain Quad, and there are no other ones shown. And like I said, I'll take a look at that pit down there just to make sure it's not an adit. And I'll probably get just a quick photograph or a quick video of that when I get down there. Well, I've come on down to this prospect pit. There's the bridge across the Salmon, and the crawler that I said was on the other side of the bridge is actually over here, a little bit to the south of it instead of on the north side. But in any case, there is the bridge. This is the draw I went up, and the ridge I went up here. The adit 4 is up around the corner. Can't really see it from here. And this is the small prospect pit. It's in marble. It's in a nice white marble here, you can see. And looks like they just kind of went in along these little shear zones there. Some little cross shears cutting through the rock, and I don't really see any mineralization at all. I don't know if they were kind of interested in the marble or if they thought there might be some minerals associated with it. In any case, this is kind of in a gneissic, nice and schistic rock. Pretty high up here on the slope, but not as high as adit 4. I'm guessing we're about 2,700 feet. The piece of white PVC down there is one they used for claim corners at some point in the past. There's several of these on the slopes up here. In any case, that should wrap up the Looking Glass prospect.